You have heard it all before. Exercise more, eat right, lose weight. But what really supports fertility? In part two of my conversation with Coryn and Crysanne from her Healthy Body podcast, we break down exactly what to eat, how much protein you need, the best workouts, and what habits to avoid. Everything you've been Googling about, made simple and practical. Do you long to get pregnant and trust your body again? Do you feel exhausted by the month after month cycle of hope and disappointment? Do you carry that creeping sense of failure? The fear that your body just isn't working the way that it should? If so, I'm so glad that you're here, my friend. Hi, I'm Mariana, a wife, mom, and a fertility care practitioner. After years of confusion and heartache, I learned how to understand my cycle with clarity and move towards pregnancy naturally by following a real system instead of guessing. This is Fertile Window Lab. If you're ready for real clarity about your cycle, a simple method that works, and less pressure from predictions, alarms, and fertility gymnastics, sit down the sticks, pop in your earbuds, and let's make sense of your fertility together. Hi TTC Warrior, do you want to hang out with other women who are serious about understanding their ovulation and getting real cycle clarity? Inside my free Facebook group, Trying to Conceive, Ovulation, and Cycle Clarity for Women, you'll learn how to better understand your fertile window, how to read your cycle with confidence, what might be disrupting your fertility, and what to actually do next. If you're done guessing and ready for clarity, come join us. The link is in the show notes. And if you want deeper guidance, become an insider, get weekly emails from me with advanced fertility education, mindset coaching, and practical next steps you can apply immediately. Sign up. Again, the link is in the show notes. I'll see you inside. Welcome back to part two of my conversation with Coryn and Crysanne from the Her Healthy Body podcast. In part one, we talk about the biggest shift many women need to make when they're trying to conceive, moving away from depletion and towards actually building a strong, nourished body that supports hormonal health. For this part of the conversation, we're getting much more practical. Think of it as a Q&A style conversation where we walk through some of the most common questions women have around nutrition, training, and fertility support. So let's start here. In your experience, what is the biggest training or nutrition mistake you see in women trying to conceive?
First of all, if your doctor is telling you you need to lose weight to conceive, this is going to be the wrong mindset for you going into this. Losing weight just means exercising more. Well, what women would think is exercising more and cutting calories. And when you're trying to conceive, this is the biggest mistake because you're telling your body when you're doing that, you're in survival mode. It's not a time to procreate. Like that's the signal that you're giving to your body. So first of all, if you're trying to lose weight, that's one thing. Secondly, I would say the biggest nutrition mistake is not eating enough protein. I think is going to be the biggest nutrition mistake because protein is what ultimately is going to fuel. It's not the chia seed pudding. It's not the
clean foods or the superfoods that everyone says.
Right. And I think that's what everyone would just automatically go to because every time someone says to me, oh yeah, I'm getting healthy, I'm eating my fruits and vegetables.
And I took out red meat.
Exactly. And this is the red meat, the amino acids in the meat is what is going to build your body, give it that signal for safety. And that's when you can procreate.
Great. Thank you for that. Let's get into the details now. Can you give us the exact protein target every woman should be going for?
The minimum should be around 100 grams. Every single woman should at least be shooting for 100 grams of protein. Ideally, and what the goal is, especially for the women that we work with, we want them to eventually get to 1 gram of protein per goal body weight. So for example, if someone someone's goal is to get down to 140 pounds, their goal is to then eat around 140 grams of protein every single day. Now, this is different than steps, because steps you can average throughout the week. One day you can get 10,000, the other week you can get 4,000, and that can average out to a certain number. Protein doesn't work like that. You want to make sure that you're having that every single day instead of looking at the average of what you're having every week.
Got it. This is really helpful. Now, I want to dig a little deeper. How does not getting enough protein actually affect ovulation and hormonal health?
Well, protein is made up of amino acids. Amino acids are the building block of everything in your body. So if you have inadequate protein, you have inadequate amino acids. And if you have inadequate amino acids, your body cannot make the hormones to specifically help with ovulation. So if your hormones are out of place, ovulation will not be as regular as it should be. And then the same thing with your period. And you'll know that by your period. So inadequate protein, which is AKA inadequate amino acids, will disrupt your cycle, and you'll see maybe longer periods, shorter periods, maybe more painful periods. But in all, what it comes down to is protein helps our hormone profile, and our hormones help everything as far as ovulation and cycles.
Awesome. Thank you for breaking down protein. It really shows how foundational it is. Let's move into strength training now. One thing I hear a lot, should women train differently in the follicular phase versus the luteal phase?
That's a good question, because we always hear about cycle syncing and training with your cycle. And there are some pros to that and some cons to that. The cons are that people talk about whenever you're training for the cycle of the phase that you're in, that you should completely switch what you're doing. So they're saying that you should strength train during your ovulation and for your follicular, because that's when you're going to be the strongest. That's when you're going to have more energy. You should do the HIIT workouts, the cardio, all of that. And then completely stop doing all of that when you're in your luteal and your menstrual and go to something like stretching and yoga and very low stress. Strength training, you have to stay consistent with that in order to see progress and in order to see muscle growth. So you need to be focusing on strength training throughout the entire cycle. But you can understand your body a little bit more according to these cycles. So in your follicular and ovulatory phase, this is when you can shoot for going heavier with your strength training, because you're going to have more energy. But whenever you are in your luteal and your menstrual phase, this is when we can focus on not going so heavy, but we can focus on maybe perfecting our form, going slower with the movement, because we know our energy is going to be lower during that time. So we should always strength train during these phases, but we need to just understand that our body is going to go through having higher energy, lower energy, and understand that we shouldn't be pushing ourselves whenever our energy is low, and just actually listening to our body and focusing on maybe going slower with the movement and more intentional with focusing on our form.
Got it. That makes sense. Focusing on the right aspects in each phase rather than switching everything around. Now, I'm curious about lifting heavier weights. Is that safe in women who are trying to conceive?
Absolutely. It's totally fine. I think women are afraid, and of course you want to speak with your doctor first, but there is nothing bad about trying to lift heavy while you're trying to conceive.
Absolutely. That's such an important point. Always check with your doctor and listen to your body. Let's get practical now. What would you say is the minimum effective dosage strength training that actually supports hormonal health?
If you are focusing on 245 sessions per week, that is 80% of your results. So I would say at the minimum, focus on 2, but less is more when it comes to this. We don't need to be focusing on doing 5 to 6 days out of the week. You're already getting 80% just doing those 2 days. We don't build muscle whenever we're working out. We actually build it in the recovery. So this is why it is so important to take those rest days.
Got it. Less is more. So if a woman only has 30 minutes 3 times a week, what should she focus on during this time?
Full body strength training workouts. And why I say full body is whenever you start looking into weightlifting, you'll see the bro splits of doing chest and tries, back and bis, and legs just one day. Us women are busy, and we're probably not going to hit all those body parts because you need around 4 to 5 days to be able to do that. And then you're going to end up skipping a day. So you're skipping a whole body part when you're doing that. So focusing on just those full body workouts, and making sure that they have compound movements in those, because those compound movements are going to target more than one muscle group. So you get more bang for your buck.
That makes a lot of sense. Focusing on the full body sessions really maximizes your time and impact. Now, let's talk about the workouts that can actually work against fertility. What types of training do you see are most disruptive to fertility?
I would say anything that causes a high amount of cortisol. So any type of HIIT workouts, any type of spin classes, most classes, most boot camps, that kind of stuff is going to cause a red flag to your body of fight or flight. And you like, just think about that. If you're in fight or flight, this is the same thing as like running from a saber-toothed tiger. You're not going to want to stop and have sex. Your body is not going to want to procreate when you're in that state.
Got it. Thanks for explaining that.
High intensity interval training can actually be a little bit beneficial if you do it the right way, maybe once a week.
I would say just once a week.
Yeah, just once a week. And if you're doing it the right way, like if you do a sprint for, maybe all out sprint 10 to 15 seconds, because if you're going to do an all out sprint 10 to 15 seconds, that's all the time. That's really all you can do. That's going to exhaust you. And then you leave like a 2-3 minute rest in between, and you maybe do that 3-4 times. That's going to be a very intense HIIT workout once a week. Any more than that, and then we're just throwing our body into that survival mode, like I said. So if high intensity interval is very important for you to do and you love it, yeah. But if you've never done it and you're going to try starting that while you're trying to get pregnant, I wouldn't suggest it at all. No. So I don't think it doesn't have a place if you're not already doing it.
Are long distance runs while trying to conceive a red flag?
Yes, absolutely. This is extreme cortisol for your body. This is first of all that pounding, which is so bad for your body. But secondly, the long distance, it triggers cortisol over a long period of time. Sprints are better because of it's acute cortisol. It's acute stress compared to chronic stress. And that's what you're looking at with the long distance running.
Thank you for breaking that down. Now, I want to zoom out a little and talk about broader diet habits. Beyond protein, what dietary patterns do you see are the most harmful to fertility?
The big red flags that you want to make sure that you're not doing is, first off, chronically under eating. That is putting your body in such a stressed out state without you even realizing it. It can be extremely hard when you are trying to eat healthy and eat clean, and you're picking all of these lean meats and a lot of volume with your fruits and vegetables. You could be still under eating without even realizing it. So making sure that you have an awareness of really how many calories you're averaging throughout the week is going to be extremely important. I don't want to generalize, but I am going to, when it comes to calories, you should at least, especially if you're trying to conceive, no matter the height or body weight of yourself, at least at the minimum getting around 2,000 calories. So depending on your height and your weight, you should be eating more.
And I think fasting is another big sabotager, only because you're not going to get those calories in that you were talking about. And it also gives that signal to your body of a state of starvation. And that is not what you want to get. That's not the signal we're trying to send to the body. We want to try to send to the body that this is safe. If everything's safe, we can have a baby. But fasting is definitely going to give that signal.
And this isn't a time to just cut out entire food groups and follow some sort of diet just because you're trying to lose weight. This is a time to nourish your body the best way possible. And that's not going to be through just taking out carbs completely, because that could be a stress to your body. If you're already used to eating a bunch of carbs and then you decide to completely take them out, your body's going to be like, what the heck? And it's not going to be focused on you trying to conceive, that's for sure. So focusing on balanced meals that are very highly nourishing to the body. We shouldn't be afraid of these red meats. We shouldn't be afraid of healthy fats. And I'm not just talking about like your olive oil. I'm talking about the fats that are in meats. I'm talking about the fat that is in organic raw dairy. Because you got to be careful with dairy. If you're just getting constantly like pasteurized dairy, it's not going to be beneficial for you. But organic raw dairy is going to be extremely nutrient dense for yourself.
All right, listeners, take out your notes. This is a section you'll want to capture. If a woman is starting completely from scratch, what does the first week of rebuilding look like?
I think we need to take this very slow and I think the first thing we should do is add protein to each meal. Just make sure your meal is balanced, but build it around protein. And this is the way we're going to start getting more protein in. And the more protein you eat, the more actually you will be able to eat. So at first it might seem like I can't eat enough protein to hit those target grams of protein that I want per day, but that's okay. If you're at 60, try to aim for 80 for 1 week. Don't try to do it all at once. I think that's one thing that we have to know, that would actually not feel too good to eat that much protein.
And strength training. We're done with the random YouTube videos. We're done with the fitness classes for now. Even though there's nothing wrong with moving your body, this just isn't the season that you're in. I know fitness classes are great for the social aspect and the community, but it's just not serving your body right now. All of that high intensity, even if they're telling you it is strength because you're picking up a weight, but you're still constantly moving your body, you're never giving it a rest. Your body doesn't know that it's now in a strength training mode. It still thinks it's in an aerobic mode. So it's not going to focus on sending the signal that your body needs to build muscle. And this is why a lot of these fitness classes can just be a waste of time. Now, when it comes to strength training, I understand how this can be very daunting to people, especially no one that's ever picked up a weight before, but you can do this at home. We offer to our clients, we have an interactive app where we are customizing a workout for them. So it's going to depend on that person's goals and what they want and what their lifestyle is like. If they want 3 workouts a week for 30 minutes, fine. If they want to do a workout 5 days a week for 15 minutes a day and only focus on 2 movements, we do that as well. But this doesn't have to be something that's scary. Once you start doing it, you will be shocked at how much easier this is. I always say if you can do a burpee in a boot camp class, that's 10 times harder than picking up some weights and feeling like you're in control of them. Like that's more powerful than trying to do a box jump or a burpee.
Thank you. And as we wrap up, if you can give women one clear, practical piece of guidance while they're trying to conceive, what would that be?
I would say, first thing you need to do is put it in God's hands, release it to him. I mean, I know a lot of people say, stop worrying and that's when you'll conceive. But honestly, if you put it in his hands, his timing is perfect, and trust him. And then go about living your life, making yourself the strongest person that you can. Just concentrate on protein, muscle building, and that right there is going to do wonders for your hormones naturally. So just get your mind off of it and just start becoming the strongest person that you can be. I think that's the mindset you should go into when you're trying to conceive.
Thank you so much, Coryn and Crysanne, for taking the time to bless our audience with this incredible practical information. For anyone listening who wants to connect with you, how can they get in contact with you?
You can find us at Her Healthy Body Podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. And we have an amazing group of supporting women through this journey through our Facebook community. That's at Her Healthy Body. And all the links and the details will be in the notes.
I'm my mama's little fertility helper. If this episode has helped you, or if you feel a little more hopeful, leave a review. She'll love it.
Hi, DTC Warrior. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, please leave a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. It truly helps to get this show into ears of more women who need it. And be sure to sign up for my weekly encouragement, tips, and insights straight to your inbox. I promise to keep it practical, hopeful, and faith-friendly. All right, I'm off to tacos, chocolate, and turn my cycle. I'll meet you back here next week. Bye.